Everyone, and welcome back to the second part of the arrays lecture. In this part we are going to continue talking about new things in the array, and here is the first example about array, which will talk about how to create random numbers and then assign them to the elements of the array. Maybe we saw this example before. I just want you to get more familiar with how to create random numbers, because this one could help you to generate some data and fill the array with this data and use it for testing or verification for the array of the C programming. So let's see here. In this example, we will have the most important thing is to use rand function, and this rand function to generate some random numbers. And this one is, we call the seed of the random number. This one is important to give some seed. That means every time you will have different output after your every time the random values will depend on the some seed, because there will be some seed will be given to the software for the random function, and that seed will from that seed we will generate the random numbers. So every time if you give different seed, you will have different random numbers. Okay, and those two functions exist in this library, stdlib. Okay, so we will include stdlib. This is important for srand and rand. And then we will here say put some seed, and this seed will be the time of the computer. The current time of the computer will be the seed. So every time you run the software, you will have different time. Every time you have different time, that means you will have different random numbers. Okay, so the time here, to call these time functions, you need to include this library, time.h. Okay, so this one srand is important to make you different random numbers every time you run the software. And now I say I create array, and this array contains 10 elements. Okay, 10 elements, and those elements, each element I will make a loop starting from 0 to 10. That means 0 to 9, 10 is not included. And then I will say give the element of the array what? Give the element the random value generated from this function, rand modulo 2. So if the number is even number modulo 2 will equal 0. So they give this one 0. If the random number is odd number modulo 2 will be 1. So if the number is odd, modulo 2 equal 1. If the number is even, any number, modulo 2 equals 0. So that means assign to the elements of the array 0 or 1. Okay, then this loop here will start from 0 to 10. 10 is not included. In this case, print the elements of the array. So element number 0, element number 1, element number 2, element number 3. Every time, so element number 0, element number 1, element number 2, and print the elements value. So this is the element value. So here is it, element number 0, element number 1, sorry, this is the mistake. So this should be element number 0, element number 1, element number 2, element number 3. So we can see this one together. This is mistake also. So here I will execute this one together. So here let's go and say, here is it. Okay, and in this one, everything is fine. So let's see. Yeah, here is it. So element. This is just when you have 5 elements. So in my case, I put n equal 5. If you make this one equal 10, this case run again. Yeah, here is it. You see, element number 0, element number 1, and so on. Okay, until 9, from 0 to 9. And if you see here, the elements are here. Okay. Now, this one is important. How about if I put here in the loop here, I'm starting from element number 0 to element number n equal 10. So this is, I think, clear here. So let's continue. Now let's go to another topic. The second topic in arrays is about multi-dimensional arrays. So every time before we learn how to create arrays, and those arrays just like one row. okay, one row, and this row contain many elements, okay, elements, okay. So this is, we call it single dimension array. Now we will see array like this. It's two-dimension array, okay. So the two-dimension array, we can define it like this. We say integer and then number of rows. How many rows? So before we only have one row, okay, but here we have number of rows. How many rows? This one, number of rows, and this number here is number of columns, okay. So this one, number of columns. So number of rows and number of columns. So it will have 4 rows and 5 columns. So how we can define this array? We can define it like this. We can open parentheses. This is initialization, how to initialize the array. If you don't want, that's fine. So here is it. Here I did not initialize the array. Just keep it. All elements will be garbage, does not contain anything. Or, and then you initialize them by loop. You can do, and we will see the loop in next slide. Or you can define them, initialize each row alone. So you will open parentheses here. Okay, open here, and then close here, okay. So open parentheses and close, and inside this one you will make the first row and then comma, and then the second row alone, okay, second row, here's it, second row, okay, and then comma, okay, and then the third row, and here is the third row, okay, third row, and then comma, and then the fourth row, okay, and here is the fourth row, okay, and then finish. So this is, you can make, it's like array inside array. So you will have 4 rows inside, and each row contain 5 elements. Look, 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5, okay. So each row contains 5 elements, okay. So this is one way to initialize, and this one is the good way to initialize using initialization list. The other way is to use like this, just put them all. So you say 4 and 5 and you put them, you know, 4 and 5, that means it will be 20 elements. So you will put 20 elements and that's it. Put 20 elements and the computer will arrange them, okay? But you cannot mix. So you will do this way or you do this way. But you cannot say, for example, first row I will do it by myself and other rows I will just put them continuous number of elements. No. You will use this way or this way, okay? It's up to you for initialization, okay? So this is how you can initialize elements of the array. So let's play with this one a little bit before I go to any advanced example. So I will okay, go here, and then I will play with this array. So let's see how we can play with this array. So I'll say here, for example, integer, and then I will say for example 2-dimension array, okay, this is the name of the array, and then this 2-dimension array will have something like this one. So I will say here, for example, it has 2 rows and each row will contain 3 elements, okay, each row contains 3 elements, and then now I will do initialization. So I can put here, like, for example, 2 by 3 will be 6. So here is 1 2 3 4, okay, 5 6. So this is will be, okay, this one 2 rows, so each row will be 3 elements. So 2 rows, here is the first row and here is the second row. Now if you want to read, okay, for example, I want to know specific elements, and so this one I want to see specific elements. For example, this one will be the this, okay, so this one will be array like this, okay, here is it, and this array will be okay, 3 columns and 2 rows, okay, it will be like this. This is 1 2 3 4 5 6, okay. So this is how this array is working. So let's see, play with this array. So here I will say, for example, print some digits modulo d, and then I will say here how to print. For example, I want element, I want here the element, for example, specific element. For example, I want the element number 2 here, okay, this one. So this one, I will say here, for example, 2-dimension array, okay, 2-dimension array. Here is the name of the array, and then I will open 2 brackets, okay, two brackets, and then they say, you will tell me here this element, okay, so let me just clarify something here. This one is usually, this one is row number 0, and this one is row number 1. And this one row number 0, column, sorry, this is column number 0, and this is column number 1, and this column number 2. Okay, so it will be like this. So this is column number 0, column number 1, column number 2. And this one is row number 0, row number 1. So if I want this element is what? This element is row number 0 and column number 0. Okay, so that means this is element, the first element, this one. Okay, so let's run and see if this one is working fine or not. Here is it. Okay, so here is it. One is this one. Row number 0 and column number 0. How about if I want row number 0 but column number, for example, 1 or 2? Okay, column number 2, that means this guy. Okay, so let's first time you feel it's strange, but it's like this. It's very simple. If you understand the idea, everything will be fine. Here is it. Okay, so this is element number 3. Value 3. The value 3 is what? Row number 0 and column number 2. Okay, now, okay, this is how to read the value. If I want to change this value, so if I want to change this value, how I can do that? Okay, let's change this value. So I will go here and say element number 0, row number 0 is equal, for example, 100. Okay, I'm changing this one to 100. So that means I'm cleaning this one and I'm saying this one is equal 100. So let's see if this one is working or not. So how we can check? We print out. So here I'm changing, I'm saying element number 0, row number 0 and column number 2. That element, the intersection of row number 0 and column number 2, that element I change it to 100. Now after that I will print that element and see what is the value of that element. So let's see what is the value. Oh, 100. It's a change. Okay, it's a changed. So you can change the elements like assignment. So it's the same like one dimension, but only thing now is to need to consider 2 dimensions here. Okay, you have 2 things. So for reading and writing, you need to put the row index and the column index. Okay, that's it. Everything will be same. Okay. Now, okay, so let's back to our examples. We will learn more about two-dimension array. So here's how you can initialize this two-dimension array, and then here how to read the elements of this array and write to the elements of the array. So reading and writing, you can do it like this. So I will see here. Yeah, this one actually not reading. This is writing. Okay, this is writing. Okay, right, how? I will show you. Okay, so, okay, here is it. Here, let's see, understand how this one is working. I will make a loop, and in this loop, start from 0 to n. N here is what? I create an array of n number of rows and m number of columns. So it will contain, this array will be like this. Okay, so let's draw. Contain 3 rows. Okay, 3 rows. And it contain 4 columns. Okay, 4 columns. Here we go. This is the array. Okay, this is the array A. And then I will say what? I will say start from 0 to n. That means start from 0 to 3. Start from 0 to 3. So 3 is not included. 3 is not included. So 0, 1, 2. That means 0 and 1. I will be 1. And then I could be equal to. That's it. This is I. I all the time will be equal 0. Or next loop I will equal 1. Or next loop I will equal 2. That's it. If I is equal 3, it will go out of the loop. Okay? So here, inside this loop, what I do? I make another for loop. So inside this for loop, I create another for loop. And that loop is doing what? J start from 0 to J less than or equal less than m. So that means j could be in the first loop j equals 0, in the second loop j equal 1, in the third loop j equal 2, and then j equal 3. How about j equal 4? No, because j must be less than 4. So that means j equals 0, j equal 1, j equal 2, j equal 3. So inside this loop, when I is equal 0, run this loop. When I is equal 0, run this loop. What this loop will do, will say so it will print on the screen a of 1 and j is equal 0 also. So this one will be, this one first time, this one will be a, it will print on the screen a 0 0, because I is equal 0 in the first loop, and now the first time you run the j loop, it will be j is equal 0, and then after that it will read scan f, it will read one digit from f, and it will give this one to where? It will give this one to the address of this one. What is the address? Address of A00. That means it will be row 0 and column 0. Give value here. So read some value from the keyboard and give it to 00. That means to the year, to this one. Give value to this guy. The next loop, I is still 0, but j is changing now. J became 1. So that means it will be 0A, 0, and then j equal 1. J is equal 1. Look, because j is increasing now. So j is equal 1. So that means this one will be 0, 1. So 0, 1, that means row 0, column 1. That means change this value. Read some from the keyboard, read some value and give it to this element, 0, 1. Okay, and then next loop, j is equal 2. So j equal 2, that means this one will still be 0 and j is equal 2. Okay, j equal 2, that means this guy. Okay, change this one. And then j is equal 3. So it will be a 0 and then j is equal 3. Okay, j equal 3, that means this guy. Okay, change this guy. Okay, and then after that j is equal 4 is okay? No, not okay. Now finish this loop and then go to the outside loop. The outside loop I will equal what? 1 now. I is equal 1. So I is equal 1 and then go inside here again one more time. So it will be a 1 0. 1 0 is this guy. This one is 1 0, this guy. Give it some value from the keyboard, and then a, go to the loop again of j. I is still 1 and j will be 1. J equal 1, that means this guy. And then a, and then I is equal 1 and j is equal 2. Okay, that means this guy. And then a, this one equal 1 and then j is equal 3. So 3, that means this guy. Okay, and then finish. J finish, this loop finish. Again go outside. I is equal 2. Okay, I is equal 2. Equal 2, that means it will be a 2 0. J again became 0. The loop start of the G again. So that means this guy. And then a 2 1. Okay, 2 1. That means this guy. 2 1. And then a 2 2. Okay, 2 2, this guy. And then a 2 3. 2 3, this guy. And then now j finish. J 3 finish. Then go again. I will be anything else? No, nothing else. So that means stop. So what we did here, we read from the keyboard how many numbers? 12 numbers. And then what is this one is doing? This one is printing all of those elements. How? From I equals 0 to, from I equals 0 1 2 to the j equal 0 1 2 3. Same. Print all the elements. Print the elements. Okay, print the elements on the screen. Okay, so that's it. So what is the 5 here? Mean keep for each number, keep 5 spaces. 5 spaces. So let's see this software, how this one will work. Okay, let's run this one and see how this one is working. Okay, so here's it. But I need to define here n is equal, n is equal 3. Then I will define m equal 4. Okay, so 2 by 12. Okay, so 12 elements. So here is the array. I did not initialize anything in the array, and then I define integer I and j, and then I start doing this loop. So let's see if this one is working as we expected or not. So here is it. You see element 0 0. That means now I 0 0, I 0 0, and then scan f and want 0 0. What is the 0 0? I will put it, for example, 0. Then I 0 1. Okay, I will put it 1. I 0 2, it will be 2. 3, 4. Oh, you see, now it's the second one. I became 1 now. I became 1. Okay, and then now I will be 2. Okay, so this one. Okay, you see, here is it. You see, this is the array. Each element in the array will take 5 digits. So this is 5 digits, then another 5 digits, another 5 digits, okay, and another 5 digits. So, but 5 digits, but the value is only one number, but it will take 5 digit space. 5 digit space, so you will find it, it will be printed like this, okay? So every time, every loop, you will make this one, print 5 numbers, and then make a new line, and start to print the second row, and then after you finish, make a new line, and then print the third row, and so on. Okay, so this is how this one is working. Hopefully this is okay. You can check it by yourself at home, and if you have any question, you can ask in the discussion section of this week. Okay, so here is another, then after we talk about the two-dimension array, now let's go to the another topic about dealing of variable number of elements in the array. So usually, so far, we learn about how to define array, and we say you can define here some constant. You say, for example, here, number of maximum elements of the array, I say 4, and then I will say integer a is equal 4. Okay, so here this is a constant. This is a constant value. That means this one automatic in the computer, when you run the software, automatically will save in the memory 4 elements. Okay, it will save 4 elements for this array. Okay, now here I do how many elements you want to insert. If you say, you read some number, if that number is more than the maximum, I will tell you number is too big. But else I will say and retain 1. What's retain 1 mean? Terminate the software. Retain 1 mean terminate the software. That means the software is not okay. Retain 1 here, okay? Usually we say retain 0, but here I say retain 1 mean terminate the software. But if you insert some number from the keyboard, you insert some number less than 4, okay? Less than 4. In this case, what I will do, I will ask you to make a loop from that number to n and fill the elements of the array. You will fill elements of the array and then print the elements of the array you fill. Okay, so in this case you will save array, for example, 100 elements, but you fill only 4 of them, and then in this case you will use only 4 of them. So let me just show you this one, how we can make a variable array, for example. Okay, I will just show you here. Okay, so let's see this one. I will make this one, for example, 100. Okay, I say the array will be 100. Okay, and max Oh, sorry, I put semicolon here. This is makes things mistake. Okay. Okay, here I reserve array of 100 elements. But he wants you here to, maybe I can just fill 5 elements and use them. And the other 95 elements, I don't use them. So let's see. I can do like this. I'll say here, how many elements do you want to save? Maximum you can save 100 elements. But I will only save 5 elements. I only want from this array 5 elements. Next run, maybe I need 90 elements or 80 elements. But maximum I can use fill 100 elements. So this is how I can make variable array. I will make a big array and then use whatever I want from that array. So let's see, I want 5 elements and then say, okay, insert 5 elements. Here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this is 5. Okay, 5. Here is it. You say, okay, here is the 5 elements of the array. Next run, okay, next time I want to run the software. Say, how many elements do you want? I'll say, okay, I want 10 elements. Okay, you fill these 10 elements. So say 0, 1. Okay, for example, these numbers. Okay, I need to fill 10 elements. Okay, here's 10 elements. So it will be, this is 10 elements of the array. Okay, so the screen is large. So here's the 10 elements of the array. Okay, those are 10 elements. What about the others? Are just waste of memory. Already there, but you don't use them. Okay, so maximum you can, so you will reserve array, big array. Usually if you want dynamic array, you will save big array and then you will use whatever you want from that array. So you will make n number of elements of the array and you will save, read from the keyboard like how much you want from this array and then print this number. Okay, this is how you can use the elements of the array. Okay, make dynamic array. But is it the only way? No, we will see more ways later. Okay, the other way is to use, you will put here, in here I put constant. How about if I put here dynamic number? So like what? Like this one. So for example here I say integer n and then I'll say how many elements do you want to have? I will read from the keyboard, for example, I want 10 elements. In this case, he will make for me array of 10 elements. He will make for me array of 10 elements and then I will start using fill this array. This one we call it variable length array. So in this case, it depends on what you inserted, how many elements you want, how many n you want, it will make array for you. So you will define how many elements in n and then use it. So here you must set n first, set n, give value for n first and then use n here. But if n is not initialized here, you will have error here. Okay, this kind of thing is available in C99. This one is only available in C programming language compiler 99. That means 1999. But if you are using old C language compiler, in this case, this code will not run. And let me show you what I mean by that. So this feature of making array, and this array, the size of the array is a variable, not constant. It's a variable. This one only available in C99. Okay, but in the old C programming or old C compiler, this is not exist. You cannot do that. So I will show you this one by here. So I will copy this code. Let's see, I will play with this code. So copy, and then I will put this code here. For example, inside, I will put this code inside okay, I will put this code inside code blocks, and code blocks is using C99. So the compiler here is using features of C programming 99 or 1999. So if I run this one, so let's see here. Oh, sorry, I need to rebuild, and then I will run. Okay. Okay, here he will tell me, okay, there is a problem. Okay, let me just see. Okay. Okay, how many elements? Here is it. I will make dynamic array. How many elements do you want? Now he wants to read from me the n value. Okay, so I will say I want 10 elements. He say, okay, I will reserve for you. If I click enter, he will reserve for me 10 elements array. And then I will say, okay, now there is no waste of memory. Only I created an array of 10 elements. So I will say the first element will be like this, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, and 10 elements. Okay, and here is it. The array contains 10 elements. Okay, that's good. This is amazing. That means you will create an array. The size of the array is exactly what you want. Okay, so this is nice. That means there is no waste of memory. You don't need to define this one as a constant, and in this case it will be like 100 constant, and you cannot change this array. But the bad thing about this one, so let's copy the same code. It was working fine here. I will go to Visual Studio, and in Visual Studio they are using they are not using C programming 99 or C99. They are using C90 or C89. That means they will tell me here, sorry, we cannot run this code. Why? Let's see. Let's run here. It will tell you unexpected. So here say expression must be a constant value. That means this one must be constant. So this one must be constant like this one. So this one will never run. So that means if you want this feature of dynamic or variable array size, you cannot use Visual Studio. So because Visual Studio does not support C programming or C99, the C here in the Visual Studio only they use C90 and C89 only, and this one is not exist in the C90 and C89. So in this case this code will not run. So if you want to use the good features of the new C programming, we recommend you to use another compiler like the compiler with the code blocks. So code blocks compiler is using the new features of the C, the new features of the C99. Okay, so this is important to know. Okay, so another thing here, if you define, for example, here I say I want n to equal 7. This is a variable, it's not constant, variable n. I say equals 7, and then I will say here I reserve for me array of 7 elements. Reserve for me array of 7 elements. That means he will create for you an array of 7 elements. Okay, so there will be 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 elements. And then after that, if I change n to 20, does he change the array size? No, he will not change the array size. When you create the array, it will create the array one time. So the array will be created only one time. You say the array is 7 times, it's done. 7 elements, it's done. It will be 7 elements. You created 10 elements, the array is done, 10 elements. If you want to change the array size, you need to restart your computer, restart your software. When you restart your software, in this case you put here the new value or the new size you want. So when you, what I want to say here, when you define the array first time, you cannot change the array size after that. This is what I want to say. Okay. Okay, so this is the end of the array. So today we talk about memory addressing of the array. We are talking about how to create array of integers, array of double, array of float. Also we talk about continue, break statements in the first video. We talk about goto. Also we talk about rand and srand. We talk about how to print address on the printf using modulo p. Also we talk about multi-dimensional array, and also we talk about variable size array. Okay, so that's it for this lecture, and we'll see you in next topic. Thank you. See you next time.